All right, surprise, surprise. It's the 3rd of September and fall is officially here. And y'all don't hate me. If you ain't a Georgia Bulldog, don't hate me, but it's game day. It's game day. Looking forward to it. Kickoff 3:30. Before we do that, gonna not in Kentucky. A little bit shocking maybe for the 10 of y'all that watch these videos, or the 5 of y'all that watch these videos. It's not in Kentucky. Decided, you know, I'm just a turkey hunter, y'all. I don't know, I'll turkey hunt and everything but a tornado, but when it comes to deer, yeah, it was gonna be wet and hot up there, and yeah, I'm just not gonna do that for a deer. So when it comes to feed trees, we're gonna be looking for all the different early season sign that I'm looking for, what I could be hunting Georgia openers next weekend. So what could I be hunting next weekend, early season? So I'll kind of cover all those bases. South Georgia habitat, let you know kind of, I'm on a little public piece here, let you know kind of what I look for as far as feed trees goes. So I reckon I'll quit rambling and let's get into it. All right, you kind of see what I'm going through here. It's actually like honestly, just a regenerated, for the most part, cut of oaks, and drops down into a bottom that's not cut. It's just big hardwoods, and you know, I'm down here at the bottom. I'm wanting to check all these big hardwoods out here, and I'll basically look, see what I find. I'm wanting to see what tree's made. You know, you got some little post oaks, scrub oaks in here. That's not what I'm really looking for. I'm looking for big water oaks, willow oaks, swamp chestnut oaks, swamp white oaks, regular white oaks, persimmons, muscadines, which they're probably going to be dropped out already and done by the time next weekend comes, but maybe not. I would say beautyberry, but you're never going to find, I've never found a stand big enough to withstand consistent patternable deer movement. So anyhow, I'm gonna get in here and just look around. So the closer a lot of this bottom, when I'm getting down into this hardwood stuff, it appears that a lot of this stuff's already been logged before. So more than likely, when you're looking at something like that, the bigger trees are going to be along this creek right here, which is called a stream management zone. So by law, loggers are not permitted to cut all the way to the creek. They have to leave a buffer on each side. And so that's typically where you're looking at stuff like this. That's where your feed trees are going to be. When you look at, and it's smaller oaks and smaller hardwoods and maples and sweet gum and all that crap, the closer you get to the creek is where you're going to find your feed trees. So I'm going to walk deep in here and see what we can find. All right, so I'm on this little feeder creek right here that's going to tie me into the bigger creek. So I'm just going to keep working my way on down. It looks like they cut pretty dang close to this little feeder creek right here. I mean, they didn't leave hardly anything. But this other bigger one, they probably didn't cut as close to it, I wouldn't think. All right, so looking at this map, you would think all this is just big open hardwoods. But until you get down in here and you're looking for doe bedding and downwind side of doe bedding and stuff like that, until you get down in here, you can't really tell what it is. So to the left, it's open, but on the map, it does not show you this thicket right up in here. And so this is perfect for a south wind to hunt the downwind side of this. Now, I'm not saying that's where I would hunt, but that's just an example of how to hunt this. It would be a south wind. I located a thicket right here. I'll go over there and see how big the thicket is and kind of how far it goes down. But, you know, you've got a few oaks out here that does might be picking up and mosey on down through here. But downwind side of this, just discovered a thicket. That's kind of how it happens. I'll put a camera on it and monitor it, or I'll be jumping deer up out of here, getting blown at and stuff, and that'll tell me, okay, there's a pocket of does in here using this, and that's kind of how I go about it. All right, so I've came up to the main creek off that feeder creek, and just as suspected, there's some bigger water oaks in here, and there's a persimmon right there. And there you go. So found the bigger creek system, and then starting to find some feed trees. And check and see if this don't see any persimmons on that one, but that water oak over there's got some acorns on it. I'll keep going. And easy way to see a persimmon is a darker color bark and swamp. But you're looking for that checkerboard bark pattern. That's the telltale sign of a persimmon. Anyhow, keep walking. Alright, so this is a pretty good example of something that I would probably climb on as far as an early season food tree for a doe or something. And you could be surprised and look up and kill a buck right here, but you got all this stuff that's been cut. It's hardwood regen all through here. And that is the biggest oak anywhere around here, big water oak. And so you can see the limbs going up, catching sunlight. So this tree is probably gonna make, obviously, a lot more acorns. It's gonna be the main one producing right here. So it'll be tricky to get in here clean. You could use the creek to access this and kind of slide in quieter, but that's just kind of how I go about it. That's what you do. You got to get boots on the ground to find it. I'll keep walking and let y'all know if I find anything else. Somebody's getting them a little snack. What's up, buddy? I don't want to interrupt your meal. I'll move on. So I've made my way on down here to the very back. This is pretty much it, but found a cluster of persimmons in here. One right there, one right there, one right there, one right there. On the ground, you can see rotten persimmons, all on the ground here. But they're all rotten. And honestly, there's a good bit on the ground, but it doesn't really look like anywhere that I'm gonna. They're smaller trees, they're not really big, and they look like they've been blown out by the wind or a storm. So probably nothing that I'm gonna hunt on, but there is some rubs coming down this transition on the back side. So I might throw a hunt at this, but. So I've walked this whole branch and I'm starting to find little water oaks green on the ground that's been knocked out by a storm. You can tell they're already eating on it. But that's kind of what I look for, is just find, that's kind of what I look for, just find where the sign's at and go from there. This would be a decent little spot, I would think, to kill a doe or two. Alright, This is what they call American beautyberry. And you know, you can see where they nipped off a little bit here, a little bit there. But you would have to find, see where they nipped that off. You would have to find, in order to hunt like a patch of American beautyberry, you would have to find just a giant patch of it for it to even make any kind of sense. So nothing I'm gonna really look for. I'm just looking, checking oaks and checking persimmons. That's basically what I'm doing today. Got my spider web knocker 3000 with me. So when it comes to feed trees, I've said this before, but the reason why I don't target a buck for a feed tree, I'm not saying again, I'm not saying you can't, because you definitely can, but when it comes to around pre-rut and the rut, if you find one hot dropping feed tree, there could be 12 to 15 others in the same general area. So there's a lot better odds to get down one side of doe bedding and doe groups and exploit the tendency on a broader spectrum, instead of hoping that that one feed tree is going to produce the buck that you're after. So that's why, that's my thoughts behind it. There again, I'm not saying you can't, because you definitely can stumble upon the right situation, but statistically, there's a lot better odds out there. On my way back to the truck, and I have found some really good persimmons to hunt on. Shorter tree, smaller tree, but as you can tell, it's pretty loaded. And then got another one right here, and then you got a really big tree right here, and that thing's, the limbs have been on it. So walked in the branch, didn't find anything really to speak of other than a few water oaks, and came back out here and definitely, I think I found an old scrape right here. Looks like that's been worked before the rain. Licking branch. That might be something I'll throw a camera on. I'm not sure how I'd hunt this. Don't see many trees to climb. I could maybe get in that cluster of water oaks right here, or I could just nestle up with my turkey set up and hunt from the ground up in there or something. And hopefully this video helped you out a little bit. Some of y'all probably already know a lot of this stuff. It's pretty elementary, but guess I'll see y'all on the next one.